Morning, everyone. I hope that you're all well and that you can all hear me okay. If you're having any problems with the visuals or the sound, if you could just drop something in the comments box, that would be much appreciated. I'm just going to wait for 2 seconds to make sure I don't get anything come through, and then I'll continue assuming that all is well. Okay, perfect. So thanks ever so much, everyone, for joining me. I hope you all had a good weekend. Um, Today, I'm going to be giving a nice brief overview of the Synergist system. The Synergist system, just to quickly introduce it to you, is a full project management system. So it handles everything from your CRM all the way through to your estimating, quoting, scheduling, time recording, invoicing, and then obviously your reporting at the end of that as well. Today, I'm going to start by showing you an overview of the 3 dashboards which are available within the Synergist system. I'll also introduce the agency work. So we are the implementation partner of Synergist. Not only do we implement the software into a number of different agencies, but we also work very closely alongside them with things like their business processes. So we look at things, some issues that they may be having, which could be things like suffering from over servicing, or maybe they want to increase their profitability. Maybe they're going through a lot of growth at the moment. So we can help support and put business processes in place which go along with the system, obviously to help support those aspects which they may be encountering. So just to kick things off, in front of you should be able to see our sales dashboard. If I just drop down, you can see that we've got the 3 different dashboards, which I'm going to start by giving you a nice summary of, and then we're going to be looking into actually where we get this information from, looking a bit more into the system and some other areas. So this dashboard here, I'm actually going to start on this bottom right-hand corner graph that we can see. So within Synergist, you can calculate or you can put in the number of hours in which your agency has available to sell. This is a really, really good starting place with any system. This will enable you to keep track of the hours in which you have available. It would be based on utilization rates as well if you have those in place within your agency. And then you can keep track that you are actually selling those number of hours in which you have available. If you're, say, checking this on maybe a monthly, possibly even a weekly basis, or even a quarterly basis, if you can see that in 1 month you were not selling the number of hours in which you have available, the features within the system would also enable you to take action and make sure that you are selling those hours in which you have available. If you aren't selling the hours, it could cause things like over servicing in the long run, because the team, your resource, will just spend time doing the jobs that they do have coming through. If they're not getting the number of hours that they have to, to do in terms of chargeable work, then they'll just do the work that's in front of them. So if in 1 month you need to get some more hours pushed through, you've also got the CRM aspect of the system, which will give you reports such as this one, top left hand side. So this is just showing where you're at with some of your opportunities, which are jobs at quote stage within the Synergist system. So if you can see that in 1 month you haven't sold the number of hours, but actually you can see you've got a number of jobs which you've had verbal commitment from, what you can do is you can start looking at that and start saying, right, let's have a look at some of those jobs in more detail. Let's try and get those pushed through to ensure we are selling those hours running through the business. You've also got access to a billing forecast. So this is just a really nice flash preview, something that our clients have requested, hence why we have now had it featured on our dashboard. This is something where you can just look at whether you're basing it on live jobs, in this case, I've actually included my opportunities, so the planned amount as well, or potential, should I say, which is showing us our planned billing amount against what actually has been billed on a month by month basis. Okay, so this is just good to keep track of billing plans that you may have on jobs, so what we potentially should be receiving and when, and then is that actually happening. It's really useful. So if in 1 month something's significantly out of place, it just gives you that flash preview, the ability to then go in and look into that or investigate it slightly further. Okay, so just ensuring that everything's on track. We've also then, on the bottom left-hand side, got our targets and orders. So again, just focusing on that planning type stage of the system, we can actually assign a target turnover for each of our clients. What we can also do then is each of those clients will be assigned or allocated to a particular handler. So as you can see in this example, the target revenue or turnover, should I say, will be against the handlers. Okay, so again, you can just keep track that you are achieving those targets in which you may have in place within your business. Okay, now the second dashboard is our management dashboard. So this is basically just to check the health on your business. Like I said, the same as the sales dashboard, it's so you've got a nice flash preview of that health. So the financial summary, this is just, I've got it set to on a monthly basis, checking our turnover against our gross profit. And then we've also got a tab there which is showing any aged WIP. This is really beneficial, because what you can do is, if you have got some WIP that is showing up in this particular graph, you can look into your WIP reports in more detail, okay, see if actually can we invoice some of that WIP, or is it something that we need to wear the cost of. Okay, so it's just ensuring that we are invoicing for everything that we can invoice for. Okay, again, we've got our billing forecast, which I mentioned in the previous dashboard. At the moment, it may be in this case that you just want to look at this based on live jobs. So on live jobs, look at your billing plans versus what's being invoiced. If we go down to these bottom charts, we've got our staff utilization. I've got mine set in this example just to look at the whole company's utilization. You can break this down by team. There are also other reports in the system where you can look at this on an individual basis. The reason it's really useful to have this on a nice flash, whether it's monthly, quarterly, or weekly view, is so you can keep track of the number of hours in which you're going through the business. Of those hours, how many are chargeable, how many are non-chargeable. Okay, and it may be that you want to, one of your aims, if you're going through a lot of growth at the moment, one of your aims may be to increase those chargeable hours. So this again is just one of those really nice quick reports that you can pull to ensure that that is happening. Okay, we've also got our top clients pie chart, which is bottom right hand side where my mouse is here. This is basically looking at your client profitability. So to put it in simple terms, very simple terms, this is ensuring that you haven't got all of your eggs in one basket. Not only that, it's also keeping an eye out for those new clients that are coming through and that are showing high profitability to you as a business. So it gives you the chance to embrace those new clients coming through, but then also to look at those really profitable clients and ensure that you're embracing those as well. Okay, and it may be that you actually want to go into more detail on these type of reports and ensure that they are as profitable as they seem in this particular report. Okay, and ensure that they're not moving the goalposts. Yes, you're receiving a large turnover from them, but let's try and make them as profitable as possible. Let's try and not overservice on any jobs. Ensure that they aren't moving the goalposts. If they are, let's do something about it to, like I said before, embrace that profitability that we have on some of our maybe bigger clients and some of the smaller clients coming through. Okay, the final dashboard is the personal dashboard. So each individual using the system will have access to this area, whether you're a full user or whether you're a timesheet user. This is giving you the ability as an individual to ensure that you are meeting your target of chargeable and non-chargeable hours. If you look at the chart, which is your timesheet summary, that's where you get that information. You've also got an expense summary and a calendar summary. Now, if you're using the scheduling tool, which I will go into a bit more detail on in just a second, all of your hours in which you have been scheduled, if I just change that to this week, will be automatically dropped within here. They will also be automatically dropped into a weekly timesheet for you. So all you then need to do is to put in the hours and put in any notes. So the time recording aspect of the system, we try and make as simple and as informative in terms of this information here as possible, because from working with a number of different agencies over obviously a long period of time, one of the main issues that we encounter is getting the team to fill out their timesheets, basically. So we try and put a simple process in place, so when the guys need to record their time, they can either do it via an app, or they can just use a weekly timesheet, and all of the data is already populated if using a scheduling tool which looks like this. Okay, so this scheduling tool here is basically taking the hours from our estimate, which I'm going to show you in just a second as well. So it's taking our hours from the estimated number of hours on each of your jobs. At the bottom here, we can see we've got the job name, we've got who's needed, when the due date is, and what's been estimated. At the top, you can see you've got all of your resource there. So it's a nice and simple drag and drop. And as I mentioned before, this will then populate their not only calendars, but also their timesheets ready to record the time. This is a really nice, easy, clean process drawn from the estimate. The reason that it's also drawn from the estimate is because our aim is to have our estimate as accurate as possible. So if I just open up one of our opportunities and show you the estimating tab. So this is an example of where those hours are drawn from, and this is just a typical example, please do excuse the terminology, of one of our estimates. As you can see, I've broken this down into a number of different phases. Underneath each of those phases, I've said, based on the client's brief at this stage, this is what resource we need, this is how long we need them for, this is what it's going to cost us for that particular resource for that amount of time, therefore this is what we should be charging. At the bottom, we've also got calculated if we're charging this amount, which Synergist is recommending based on your charge rates, we should be achieving a 65% gross profit and a 48% net profit on this particular job. As you can see, I've also got a purchase in there. Within the system, you can add purchases and also add any markups on there, which can then be included within the client quote. So one main feature of the system is that we've actually got a separate estimate to the quote. So when we moved on to this estimating page, I mentioned that it's basing this area on the client's brief. So at the moment, you wouldn't be taking the client's budget into consideration. It's purely based on what this client wants. So this is your internal budget based on the brief. The quote is then looking into if you need to commercialize what you're actually selling the job for. So it's saying, okay, based on the brief, this is what we should be charging. And then your quote is your external client-facing estimate, basically. So you're saying, okay, what are we actually going to sell it for? An example of where this doesn't happen sometimes is if a client gives a brief, somebody may build an estimate that looks like this. They may then come back and say, we've got a budget of this amount, or you may want to add some discount. So rather than charging them for, say, 20 hours, you might want to reduce those hours down to 10. Now, if you're doing that within your estimate and not your quote, what happens is that scheduling tool is inaccurate because you'll actually be scheduling less hours than is needed. Even if you're charging 10 hours, that, say, designer, for example, still needs 20 hours. Okay, and also you still need to see in your capacity plans that we need 20 hours of a designer. So that's one of the reasons in which we have a separate estimate to the quote. Hope that all makes perfect sense. Once we have built our estimate, which we can use templates for as well, so we don't have to do it manually every time, we can have templates for different services in which you offer within your agency. We can also start planning the durations underneath each of those phases. So we might have 100 hours estimated. underneath, say, phase 1. What we need to know now for the scheduling tool, which we've previously looked at as well, and also for our capacity plans, we need to know, do we need to do those 100 hours within 1 week, or have we got 1 month, or have we got 2 months? So this is where we start actually planning out the durations on each of those phases. Some of you may use Gantt charts. I'm sure you're all familiar of this type of planning tool. So once a job is put onto the system as an opportunity, which you can see in this list here, would be a list of all of your opportunities. When I selected and went into the estimate, all I did was went into one of these cards where all of the information surrounding these particular jobs will be held, including the estimate, which we've just looked at. Once we have, say, got the go-ahead from the client, all we would do is promote this opportunity into a live job, and it would then be sat in our list of live jobs, which looks like this. A really, really beneficial feature within this particular page is our thermometer bar here. This is enabling us to basically ensure that we aren't over-servicing. If we are due to over-service, it's given us that visibility, and it's potentially also enabling us to do something about it before it potentially does go over budget. So this is showing us how far through the budget we are. I've got mine set to looking at the estimate versus the actual time. So just to give you an example, if, for example, we estimated 100 hours and 50 hours had been recorded against one of these particular jobs, it would show that we are 50% of the way through the budget. Reason that it's really been beneficial is we know that we're 50% of the way through the budget. We can then actually go into the job and make sure that we are 50% of the way through the work as well, and that we've not used, that 50% of budget in the first phase actually. And it may be due to things like if we have used that 50% of the budget, but we're not 50% of the way through the work, you can identify reasons why. It could be due to human error. It could be that the client has moved the goalposts. It could be that a different resource has recorded the time. Number of different reasons that it could be. But hopefully this should give you that visibility to potentially do something about it if it is, say, the client moving the goalposts. Okay. So that is everything that I'm going to show within the system today. I've given you a nice brief overview of the dashboards, so some of the nice flash reporting that the system offers. We've got millions of other reports as well. So if anybody wants to look at any specific reports or any particular features that is of high importance to them within the system that I haven't covered in much detail, please do contact us. That's absolutely fine. We've looked at the planning stages. We've also then looked at the job tracking, time recording, scheduling, and a bit of the reporting. So hopefully that's covered a nice brief overview of everything. I'm just going to now go on to the Synergist website and just give you an overview of the pricing. So we've got 3 different packages. To put it in the most simple term, it's £49 per month for a full user. That's somebody who will have access to everything. There are restrictions available if there is some sensitive data in which you need hiding. And then it's £19 for a timesheet user. So that's basically somebody who will have the time allocated to them and then be able to record any time and expenses to those jobs which they've had allocated. You do also have a read-only access to the jobs, again, if restrictions are given. Okay, and then you've also got the core system, which is just a £50 a month. So the foundation package has all of your nice basic features, and our minimum for that is £292 per month. Sorry, the minimum is actually £280. The example that is given here is for 3 full users, 5 timesheet users, you'd be looking at around about £292 per month. We've also then got our professional package. That's things like if you have, multiple companies, that type of thing. And then we've also got our enterprise, which is for our larger agencies. Oh, sorry about that. For our larger agencies that may actually have, overseas offices, multiple different companies. So it starts getting into that sort of thing. Okay, so the foundation package is our standard package, which most of the agencies either fall into our foundation or professional package. So if anybody would like any specific costing, again, please do contact me. And I'm happy to go over anything, answer any questions, and give you some more in-depth costing. I hope that you found this session nice and informative. Like I said, if you have any questions, please do contact me. My contact details should be in your drop-down chat box, and you should also receive an email after this webinar with my contact details on. So I hope you found it informative, and we hope to speak to you soon. Thanks very much, guys.